Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dot to Dot. Today, I'm going to do the decoding of the Zena map or the Oak Island map. We've seen it on the Curse of Oak Island several times now. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to try and simplify this on how this map actually works and what it does. It actually basically rebuilds Nolan's Cross is basically the main function of Zena Halprin's map. Also gives you direction of the 45-degree angle in La Formula. What it does basically to me is enough providence that this is authentic. I don't really care about the critics that say that it's fabricated or that it doesn't have proper French and the writing is similar to Bill Jackson's. I don't really, it doesn't matter to me where this comes from. It only matters to me what it does. So here's the Zena's map or the Rochefoucauld map or the Oak Island map, whatever you want to call it. And let's see, I have the clues. I'm going to go over them briefly. These are all the clues here. And, you know, this is the poem to Francois Rochefoucauld. Now, you know, the first Francois Rochefoucauld wasn't until 1530. So there's no way that this map was created by Templars or anything like that. It may have most likely been fabricated by Bill Jackson, but fabricated by information that he knew. But we don't know where it came from, but what it does is amazing. So this is basically was decoded by Olivier from Oak Island Research, educated French national, has an engineering degree, very smart guy. He basically was sitting down looking at this, and one of the first things he noticed was the set was not spelled properly. See, the reason why this grammar in this isn't correct is because those are the clues. So this should just be CE and not ETTE, and this ETTE lettering corresponds to the petite. Of course, the error in petite is this I that's jammed in the middle of the two T's. And then, of course, we have an accentuated E. And this what gives us our first line, which is the set line that comes down between the two. With this little chute, it comes down here. I'll explain that in a minute. And it goes between another T and an E, but it goes right up against this E and comes down and stops at this line right here. That's where it's supposed to stop. The other thing is this top portion, his wife actually discovered this. This top portion is a poetry form called an Alexandrine. And the Alexandrine is composed of 12 syllable lines with what they call a cesura or a pause after the sixth syllable. Now, this is one of the things that Olivier noticed too, is the la in the Rochefoucauld is up here. It could have easily been put down here, but it's up here. And he thinks he noticed that this looks sort of like a bird. And the song of the bird is the use of poetry through song and the troubadours used to do this back in medieval periods, and they used to encrypt messages in their songs and poetry and recite them on the street. It was sort of like a way to give away secret messages. And so, but anyway, back to the Alexandrine, this is 12 syllables up here, and we believe the puzzle is that you need to complete the Alexandrine after this comma on the second line. And when you do that, the only way you can do that is, one, separate this V from this ERRE. Now, air, it's not spelled correctly, but it's phonetically saying air. It would have an R at the end, I believe. This air means to wander. And this corresponds to this wandering, meandering illustration that we have right here. So in the original if you don't separate the V, it says a little glass, or a little drink. And if you separate the V out, you have a little V wanders. And then we have this little diagram or drawing here that sort of looks like a V with a line right here. And if you go from the bird's mouth and draw a line through that portion of the V, just like in this picture, it goes straight to this quadrant. So this is our second line. So when you finish this Alexandrine, okay, it says a little V wanders, and then we have this diapanostria, which we do not know what it is, and west. So if you include the word west, you get 12 syllables, and the sixth syllable is the D. So this is why we think that the D right here is part of this line here, because it's emphasized. So when you go to the west and look out at the west of Oak Island, you see the aunts, and this means the cove, or it could have another meaning, which is the a handle, the handle. So if you look at this island here, which is supposed to be, I guess, Round Island, you notice these two little handles off of it. Now, one is a straight line that goes like this, and we reason this out to be a vector. The other one here is basically a little symbol. You can see a little foot coming off here. So if we take this vector and we go out all the way and just draw it all the way across, it comes to the point down here on this line with this S pointing towards it. And we'll get that to you later. This is another clue. So the other portion, the little foot, can be found right here. And this portion right here is part of the quadrant. It's the east part of the quadrant. Now, when we get to this point, we think, okay, what is this? What's the reasoning behind this? And our reasoning was that we're going to measure something from the bark. So we're going to go measure something from here to where the center of the quadrant is, where the west line ends. So this is the clue here. But it's why are we measuring this? We have to ask ourselves, why are we measuring this this distance? And the next thing that we figured out, that it was probably has to do with the bark. Now, Olivier, on his first inspection, he drew a line through the center of the bark and the bateau, and I realized that this line, if you take it through the rudder portion right here, and from this little lightning bolt pointing right here, if you take it all the way there, it intersects with the line that came from Round Island right here. And I reasoned out that maybe this is where we want to measure. We want to measure from right at this position. So what you do is you take a line and you go perpendicular to this. And we have to basically, and I'm going to just do the position and give the whole thing to you, is what happens is you draw a line perpendicular, you bisect this angle, which is an amazing thing in itself, that this angle actually, these two lines make this vertical angle, that when you bisect it and run a line perpendicular to it, it's in the same axis as Nolan's cross, and you'll see in a minute. But this line, this measurement from here to here, is done again, replicated from here, from this point to here, perpendicular to this line. Now, the other thing is when you get down to here, this next clue, you see this little triangle here. Now, this little triangle is related to this triangle up here on the top of the quadrant. And if you take a line and you go from the base of that and you go across to where it intersects the line that is made from the yellow line, it will eventually show you that it goes from the measurement from the base of that triangle to the center again, comes down here to the end of this S in Sud. So this right here, this Sud, is bracketing these two endpoints. And I think this is one of the reasons why that this message at the bottom, Les Sud Indians, work well. I think it's emphasizing the word Sud, and also the S right here that points to this point is similar to this S right here. So we know we're on track when we start getting these verifications. So what we end up here with is this line right here, this red line that is going to eventually go west. And this is true east-west. This is our true east-west line. And we also get this, the set line. And then we get these two other measurements, the one that is the bottom of the quadrant and the other one that is the top of the quadrant. And by the way, this circle is the same, showing the same distance. So it is this distance twice. So that's the that is the decoding of all of some of the, actually most of the clues. But one of the last ones I want to show you is once we're going to go into this clue right here, and it's color-coded blue because this is going to have to do with the scale, which is from this point right up here to this point right down here. This will equal, or it's equal to 1347 pede in pre-1668 French units. So this is how we get our scale from this point here to this point, and that is the same as this point down to here. This is what this illustration is telling you. And when we extend that point, it will end up over here on Frog Island. The other clue that we have is the Pierre, the triangle of Pierre. And we have here the eye is a similar shape to the point of the north arrow here. And the north arrow is the last part of the quadrant, and it gives us a direction. And we'll see that it actually points in a 45-degree angle. So let me take this off here, the clues and the position. Oh, let's put up the scale. So this is the scale, and this is basically showing the scale right here, this blue line. It's also interesting too that this distance, notice that the distance here of the blue line goes through the center of the quadrant, just like the 429, this yellow goes through both of them also. So this is an important area right here. The center of this quadrant is very important, and it is a point that will be marked. So let's simplify this. I know that's a lot. So now bear with me. I have to take off a couple of things. So if we simplify this, we have basically just the points that were given on the Rochefoucauld map and the lines, the lines of the scale, and also the line, the extension line that goes out to here, right here. Here's that extension line. We also have the arrow, the north arrow, and we have the center of the quadrant marked. And we have our east-west line that goes due east-west. There we go. So to simplify this, basically we can simplify this in just a few lines. So we have basically these lines here, and we can measure them. Now, remember, we're not doing this on Google Earth. We're doing this on paper, okay? We're on this Rochefoucauld map, and all we're doing is simplifying the lines that we already found through the clues. So we have a line that had two lines at a 10-degree angle. Now we have our east-west line, and this line right here, when we measure it, is 30 degrees. And this line that comes off of this point here, it measures in this, it's 20 degrees. And then the arrow line is 45 degrees measured from the east-west line. So we have 10, 20, 30, and 45 degree angles. Very simple. And now if we take those lines, let's just put them on a piece of paper, okay? A blank piece of paper. So here it is, they're on a blank piece of paper. And this is basically what you have. You could actually take this circle out if you wanted to. And we're going to put up the landmark map. So if we're going to take these lines right here and transfer them onto the landmark map, okay, it's going to look like this. And if you notice, the center, this point right here was the headstone of Nolan's Cross. And this was cone D. And this is cone A. So the setup of this Rochefoucauld map, or Zena's map, allows you to get this geometry, this simple geometry here, and put it on the map. Now, one of the things, though, I got to be honest with you, is there's a little trick here. And this is what, one of the points that we do know is the one out here. So this is a point that we basically start with, and we draw that line, which would go basically 260 degrees true to the north. But one of the things is this line, if we move this like this, we still don't know where on the island it could be, because this is still running east-west, and this other one is still following the line. So what is it that basically stops us? Can you guess? You're right. It's the triangle of Peter. The triangle of Peter is what stops this right there. And the triangle of Peter has, when you look on the map, it has a little straight line here. which denotes where it ends. This is actually supposed to be running true north-south, and it goes to right here. Now, so what you have here is you have a geometry that was decoded from Zena Halpern's map that can be easily located onto this map. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be Google Earth. It can be this map. It could be another map that's a little more detailed. It doesn't matter. It's a simple geometry, simple lines, and it corresponds to Nolan's cross. And I'll put Nolan's cross on here. There you go. So there's Nolan's cross, and here I'll take away the cones. And this is what Zena Halpern's map is doing. It is basically giving you the directions to find Nolan's cross, and also to orient yourself in this direction from cone A with the 45-degree angle, which is part of La Formula. Now, you know, another thing that Olivier showed on one of his last videos is that, you know, Nolan's stone piles is also something that lines up with all this. And here's Nolan's stone piles, and you can see that these stones, or these rock piles, it lined up with cone D, and these two stones are due. This is due east of cone A, and this is due south of this point here, which is the 429 extension. And it also goes to that point right here, which we call the set point, which is that green line. So this is what something that is on the island right now, or it used to be on the island. I'm sorry. At one time it was on the island, that verifies these points that came from Zena Halpern's map. Also notice how this headstone actually lays in the middle of the landmark map. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.